I don't think I was inspired to become a host. I think I guilt-tripped myself into becoming a host because I was appalled by the war, as most people are, and I was quickly taking the route of there's nothing I can do. And then I just got to thinking, I really don't want to take anybody into my house. That's not my nature, really. It's not it's not what I've done. It's not who I am. And then I felt really, really lousy about thinking that. And if the situation were different and my grown-up children were in a situation where they needed refuge and everybody thought the same, I'd be really sad if nobody could offer help to my children. So then I started realising that if I didn't take somebody, I'd feel even worse. The first meeting with Marina, my guest, was by Zoom. We just talked. I'd shown her, I'd been asked to show her a little film of my house and where her room might be and what facilities she would have. I talked to her a little bit about the village. Previously emailed, not talked, but emailed. She said to me, out of the blue, what are the rules? And that completely floored me because I hadn't actually gone into it in my head and thinking, rules, I have to have rules as guidelines from Homes for Ukraine. But that's very different when you're talking to a human being and you're going to interact with that person and you want it to be all right. So I think I just said, well, the rules are we have to be kind to each other, and if there's a problem on either side, we have to talk. Oh, and if you smoke, it'll have to be in my garden. That was it. And she looked at me very earnestly and she just went, that's it? I said, yeah, that's all I can think of that'll help. And she said, yeah, that's good. And we smiled, and there was just a sort of, okay, neither of us quite know what we're getting into, but there is a need to get into it. There are some challenges when you invite a stranger into your home. There is that whole idea of it being a stranger. And I suppose one of the most challenging aspects that you're going to think of is language. I don't speak any Ukrainian, so I had a lot of leeway for what her English was going to be like. But actually, by a lot of hand waving and gestures and her reasonable grasp of English and my reasonably good hand gestures, we sort of managed, and it became funnier rather than a problem. The Homes for Ukraine scheme, I have been impressed with. It's not. I found it wasn't in my face, but if I needed anything, if I was stuck, like we had some problems just working out some of the logistics of getting some of the forms, which were quite complicated from the government. It was a bit of a pain. These long forms, and Homes for Ukraine were very good at helping with that. And they also set up lots of social things that Marina could have got involved with, or language things. There were lots of things on offer, which I'm sure many of the Ukrainians really took up, and some would not, because you're either a joiner or you're not a joiner. So I thought it was a really well-balanced, well-run scheme. I don't know what I'd advise people becoming hosts, because each individual relationship with whichever particular guests you've got is between you and them, and maybe that's the advice, is that you can't follow some set pattern, or you can't follow what your neighbours did or what your friends did in another town. You have to take on board the human being that's joined you and find your way together. And I do think just a bit of patience and kindness, and if things are upsetting you, you have to say. There's no good telling your friend or your partner or whatever. You have to say and work through that. Since Marina was forced to go back to Lunansk because her family situation became desperate, so I'm in touch with her, and I'm just sort of saying, I just send her messages every now and then. We chat every now and then, but what I'm just saying to her is I'm still here, which is one of the reasons why I've not gone on to take another refugee in, because I don't think Marina and I are quite done yet.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to need help somewhere down the line, I think.
Yeah.